Welcome to the Culture Edit. Unique perspectives into the personal and professional lives of individuals at the helm of successful business, athletics, art, and design. Welcome to the Culture Edit. It's episode 57. Wow, you're really excited. If everyone could sit here and see what I'm seeing, Chad's very excited about this episode.
This is why we don't do video.
So I can
make funny faces at you.
It is Friday afternoon, and it's
beautiful Friday.
Lovely day out. We are still recovering from our Steamboat escapades, so both of us have not been able to get a good workout in this week. But actually, I guess you did last night. I've just been tired.
And I did Wednesday morning. I rode Wednesday morning.
Yeah, you're winning. Actually, I'm losing.
I think we should apologize though to everyone for missing a week.
Yeah, we missed a week. You'll get past it. No,
It's called pure exhaustion.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out when we could record, but we had our Steamboat race on Sunday. So I was traveling, and then I got back for 5 hours and turned around and left and was traveling again. So we didn't have any time to actually record. And then...
Well, that was before Steamboat, but then
Steamboat happened.
Nonstop, and then we traveled on Monday. And then
all day.
We had meetings starting first thing Tuesday, we were still 2 hours behind. And
Monday was one of the longest travel days I've had in a long time. Like, we checked out at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And we didn't get home till midnight.
Yeah, it was a long day.
It was brutal. Like, I actually don't want to do that again.
Yeah, I think the moral of the Steamboat story is that you can't do Steamboat gravel race on a long weekend.
Yeah.
You need a little bit more time. Unless you're flying private. Then you can
do whatever
fly right in and fly out.
Yeah, it was
because it's a 4-hour drive.
It's a 4-hour drive, and then it's a 3.5-hour flight. It's just a long day. I mean, it's basically like flying to Europe. Between like the drive and the combined drive time and flight time plus the wait. I mean, it took us 2 hours just to get out of the airport when we landed, to get the rental car, to get the stuff. I mean, it was kind of insane.
Yeah, that's true.
So
it's a long day.
It was a long day, but the event was really fun.
It's worth it.
Yeah, we had about 12 people on our side from our team.
Why don't we go in order though, like on the way there? So we left. You were at the last time we checked in. You were at the conference, and we were going straight. You were going straight from there to Steamboat. You got to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. We let you sleep for a couple hours, and
frantically packed my bags at midnight.
Yeah, midnight, and thanks to our friends at Delta for the delayed flight. And then we let you sleep for a couple hours, and then we flew to Denver. Mm-hmm. Rented a car.
Yep.
Renting a car in Denver is not easy. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, it's just the shuttle situation. I hate any airport where you take a shuttle to the rental car
with the bikes. So now we have our bikes in Bucks and Box, which are 2 giant aluminum cases.
Yeah, and they can't really fit in many places. And so if we were to get on the shuttle, it'd basically be us and our 2 Bucks and Boxes, and we'd tell everyone to go kick dirt. And there wasn't enough room for them. So we decided to not be those people. And I would stay back with the Bucks and Boxes, and Chad would hop on the shuttle and go get the car.
Yeah, this is our new thing that we do.
But the problem is that we came out, I guess, on the Uber pickup level, and in Denver, the average pedestrian cannot pick up on that level. It's just Uber, just taxis, just buses. But there's no
not even a sign for it.
There's no signs indicating that at least that we saw. And so Chad was like, even though he dropped me off and knew exactly where I was standing in like physicality, when he got the car and came to find me,
I didn't know what level it was.
He didn't know.
Though.
Yeah,
I just
couldn't find
assumed
the right
it was
level.
arrival. I assumed it was arrival.
So another annoying thing about the Denver airport is that it's like a 6-mile loop to get back to the terminal again.
Correct.
So it's not like Atlanta where you just go in like a 1/4-mile loop and like stop on the side of the road and like do all kinds of like illegal like parking things until you can figure out how to pick someone up.
No.
You got to like loop back around 6 miles. And so he probably did about 4 different loops. So
I did 4.
24 miles.
24 miles of circling the Denver airport. Extremely frustrated, trying to find you on a level that apparently doesn't exist. It was like the Harry Potter
platform
3 1/4 or whatever it was.
So
eventually I just stopped and made you come to me.
Yeah, so I had 2 suitcases, 2 buxom boxes. So I had to put the suitcases on top of the buxom boxes, and then a nice lady had to help me put everything in the elevator. That's
traveling with bicycles.
Yeah. So it was quite a trek, and then I was so exhausted it was a lot of, for me personally, it was a lot of like sitting in plane seats and like the conference nearly destroyed me.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even remember if we talked about really the conference in the last episode.
No, you were at the conference.
Yeah, but it was not the best conference.
Yeah. It wasn't good for a ADHD participant.
Not good for an ADHD participant. Really just like the speakers were just really boring and very basic, and it was like I felt like I was in the elementary school class of internal comms. And I don't quite know I realized what it was. So it was basically all government agencies sending their internal comms groups to this conference. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, I'm with the Social Security Administration. I'm with the NSA. I'm with the TSA. I'm with the something with the 2 letters plus an A.
Yeah.
And everyone, that whole situation. And what I realized is they were like attending a couple sessions a day, and the rest of the time they were just like out partying in Nashville. Because one group, I want to say it was like the Social Security Administration, whatever, group. They came in at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and they all had their Jack Daniels like tour totes with their liquor. So I'm like, wait, did they do the Jack Daniels tour before 9 o'clock in the morning before they even got to the conference? I mean, I suppose
was there a reason for them to bring them if they had gotten them the night before?
No, there'd be no reason. That would be weird because they all had them.
So it was a Jack Daniels tote though, like if you like put stuff in it.
It was,
or was it the actual bottles?
No, it was like the bottles in like they all had like souvenirs. It was like a kit that they all had gotten at like a tour.
Wow.
I think it was Jack Daniels. It was one of the liquors, but I feel like it was Jack Daniels.
You can drive to the Jack Daniels distillery on the way from Atlanta to Nashville. I've done that before and stopped. But you wouldn't do that in the morning. I don't think they're open in the morning.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't Jack Daniels, but it was some sort of liquor, and they were all came in like toting their liquor
George Dickel
bags and whatever. I'm assuming it's one you could do in Nashville.
One time I was driving back from Nashville to Atlanta, and I stopped at the George Dickel distillery and did a tour by myself. I was the only person there.
Sounds fun. Sounds right up your alley.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
An introvert with a drinking problem. Yeah, it was interesting. And then I realized like everyone at night was just going out and partying, and my only goal for the week was to just run as much as possible. So I was not interested in any drinking after the conference or anything. And I asked I did meet one really nice girl.
Two. One?
Well, two. Okay. But one I didn't really see that much. But the other one I kind of like, we hung out the whole time.
Yeah.
And she works for the Army, so she's in internal comms in the Army. She was really cool.
Did you tell her about this podcast? Is she listening?
Yeah, she might be.
Shout out.
Yeah, Christine.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out to Christine. We kind of kept each other like mentally going all week, because I think we both had the same feeling of like, okay, we're here, we're going to try to make it the best of it. But like after every session, we'd look at each other, because we pretty much sat together the whole week. We'd be like,
when you just realize it's just such a waste of time.
Yeah, we were like, she was like, did you get anything out of that? And I was like, not. And I was trying not to be negative, so I didn't want to bring it up. And so I was like, not really. And finally we just gave up, and like, she's like, all right, I got to take like a walk. And then I got so bored that I took a city bike. I had to sit out there's like, you know how they have the sessions where it's like
technology.
Yeah, technology people like just trying to sell you stuff, but they're doing a session.
Yeah.
So there's 2 of those back to back, which was like
a technology app that Microsoft already does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it was like a 3-hour block, because it was like an hour of talking, a half an hour, and then another hour of talking, where I was like, oh, I could get on a city bike and I could ride like 8 miles out to this running shop that I wanted to go to. I wanted to visit. Or maybe it wasn't 8 miles, like 5 miles. So I hop on the city bike. I'm in full business clothes.
Yeah.
Riding through the homeless, riding through the chaos, all that Nashville
has become
on a city bike over the bridge, over the pedestrian bridge.
Yep.
To East. The best thing is I was really, so I had this like bright red sweater on, and the pedestrian bridge, so the level that the conference was on was the 5th floor of the Four Seasons. And there was many times where I found myself looking out longingly at the pedestrian bridge, hoping that I could get out there and go run or walk or do anything outside of this conference.
Yeah.
And when I rode over the pedestrian bridge, I kind of looked back and I wondered, is there anyone up there looking at me? Like,
they could see your little red sweater going across the bridge.
Red sweater, just like on this.
There she goes.
And I was thinking about how funny that would be if you like saw me at the conference and then you're like, wait a minute, and
She's
you saw me like
away.
riding the city bike over the bridge.
What was the name of the running store?
It's the Exchange Running Collective. So it's in East Nashville, which I guess is kind of like the cooler area, like the up and coming, cooler, younger area is East Nashville. So I rode my bike over there, and there's a really like long bike path. You can kind of get over to East Nashville pretty quickly because there's a really nice bike / running path that gets you there. I pull up, like skirt into the parking lot, hop off my city bike, and go in again, full business clothes into this running store. And I was I was out of running clothes because I had my running clothes from Tampa. I went straight from Tampa to Nashville, and I didn't actually think I'd be running. I ran like every single day, so I didn't think I'd actually do that. Got a Tracksmith running shirt, met the lovely...
They carry Tracksmith there?
Yeah, they carry everything.
Huh.
Bandit, Tracksmith, Nike, Adidas. I mean, like they had literally every brand. Brands I had never even heard of.
Solomon?
I think so. I mean, they had like everything. It was crazy. It was a really impressive store. Unfortunately, I could not do their group run that night because it was like at 6 p.m. and the conference got out at 6 p.m. So, yeah, that wasn't going to work. But if I were to go back to Nashville, I would definitely meet up because it seemed like a really, really nice group of people. And a lot of them had come to ARC in Atlanta. So I thought that was really cool.
A bright, shining star in the otherwise
dismal Nashville.
How did we get on this from, I thought we were in the Denver airport loading box on box into a Florida Explorer.
Because we had to go back and talk about the conference because we didn't recap the conference.
Okay.
Anyways, so I did find a nice park. If you're in Nashville, it's like Sandy something park. I almost said Sandy Bottoms, but I know that's not what it is. It's like shade. It's like shade.
Lingering shade.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a nice park out in East Nashville, and it's a good place to run. It's actually like very lush and pretty.
Okay, so we're back in Denver. We're in the car. We're both exhausted, and we hadn't eaten, and we decide to stop in. Do we want to talk about Idaho Springs, what a cool little town that is?
Yeah, Idaho Springs is right off I-70, right? Or
yes.
Highway 70?
About an hour from the airport on I-70, yeah.
So if you're driving towards Steamboat, it's going to be on your right-hand side.
Yes.
And it's really nice, really cute. But Chad goes to Parallel Park, and he couldn't see out the back because of the Buxom boxes, so he was having a little bit of a hard time getting close to the curb. And
try parallel parking when you can't see backwards.
And a parking enforcement officer rolled up and was like,
within seconds,
12 inches, and we're like, what?
No, he's like literally within seconds. He said, "I just want you to know that parking enforcement is 12 inches next to the curb. You look like you're approximately 30 inches from the curb,"
which you were.
Okay. I mean, the dichotomy of coming from Atlanta where there are no rules and no laws, like we talk about this a lot, but to go to a town that literally before you can even get out, they're telling you the laws you've broken around parking was kind of a shock.
Yeah.
But you even said the local that was standing there was like, what the hell? Like they're ruining this town.
Well, they had changed all the parking lots to paid parking, and he was saying that like they rely on the traffic from 70 for people to just see it because you can see it from and it looks cute from the highway. So the businesses rely on the traffic to just like us. Oh, look at that cute little town. You pull off and you park and you get your lunch and you shop and it's over. But if you have to go through the process of parking and there's parking enforcement, I mean, you might as well be in New York City, and that's not convenient. So He was just saying that they've gone overboard on the parking enforcement.
I agree.
Because there's not that many people visit. Like we pulled into the paid parking lot and there was like let's say there's 100 spots, 10 were taken.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, do you really need paid parking?
So then we went to that pub, which was really good. I definitely would recommend that.
What was it called? Do you remember?
Tommy Knocker Brewery and Pub.
Tommy Knocker Brewery and Pub.
Yeah, Tommy Knockers.
It was really good.
Yeah.
The salads were really good, surprisingly.
Yeah.
So stop in there. And then there was like, if you just walk down from it, there is a Nepalese jewelry store where
that's people from Nepal.
So we went in, and the guy that worked in the store was like, oh, like my mom gets all these gemstones from Nepal, and then she makes all this jewelry. So I got a couple. It was pretty cool. It was a cool little shop.
Good luck, gemstones.
Yeah, well, like they all have like their special meanings, and Chad knows I'm like really into like the meanings of gemstones and all that stuff. So yeah. I'm a very superstitious person.
So a lot of gemstones for you to buy in North
very
Georgia.
Superstitious.
Like, you've heard of this town called Helen, Georgia. There's a lot of gemstones up there for you to buy.
Yeah. So that was fun. And then we kept on about our way to Steamboat, got there, got into the townhome. It was good. It was very spacious. And then from there, the weekend just continued to be fun. Friday, we had the Pond Mall, quote unquote, shakeout ride, which was not a shakeout ride.
Micah said it was couched as a black course preview ride, not shakeout ride.
It was really hard.
It was not easy. Yeah, it was. We drove out to Hayden, Colorado, which was 30 minutes west of Steamboat, and yeah, it was different out there. It was
hard.
Steep.
It was really steep.
And sandy and rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was cool. It was a good ride.
Yeah, it was cool. Then Saturday though was a good ride. We had basically everyone from Atlanta come out to our shakeout ride, the Niche Speed Club / Michael Garrison shakeout ride. And we had our team, we had the Logger team, we had the Wahoo crew, and it was really fun. We probably had, what, like 20-something people?
I'd say, yeah, 20 to 30. 20 to
30 people?
Yeah.
And it was a great shakeout ride. And then that led into the grand finale on Sunday, which was everyone had for the most part, great day racing Steamboat gravel.
Most everyone had a great day racing.
Well, I mean, none of us came back with like broken bones and scraped up butts and all kinds of stuff. So,
yeah, no crashes, but definitely a lot of
suffering.
Yeah, a lot of physical and mental suffering.
I mean, at least your bike didn't break.
That's true. Do you want to tell the people what happened to your bike?
So I luckily was riding with Mike and Lule Saturnia, who are good friends and friends of the pod. And then Luke from our team. And we were doing the 60-mile course. And probably 9 miles in, like before you even started your race, my chain ring exploded. Which you might be thinking, like, how does that happen? And the answer is I have absolutely no idea. All the screws fell out of my small chain ring, and then it just basically fell off my bike.
So the chain ring did not explode. Your chain ring bolts came undone.
But those
which
exploded.
Caused your inner chain ring to fall off while you were pedaling in your inner chain ring.
But it felt like an explosion because I almost crashed.
I'm sure. I mean,
I stood up.
Mortals would have crashed.
Yeah.
But
no, I mean, Mike and Luke were like, I can't believe you didn't crash, because I literally stood up and the whole thing just fell apart, and I caught myself on the bars and unclipped really quickly.
Yeah, I'm so glad you didn't crash.
I would have been so mad.
So then you called me, and I'm on the start line because you start at 6:45,
yeah.
and the blue course was starting at 8 o'clock. So
yeah.
I was on the start line.
It was like 7:45
with all the Team Logger guys and Ray and a whole bunch of people, and you explained to me what happened, and as I said, I mean, I felt terrible, but like checking chain ring bolts isn't even on my list. Like that's like, there's a lot of things on my long list of things to check. That's not one of them. And we'd gone through the bikes the night before. Like,
yeah,
me and Michael had gone through them, derailleurs, everything. So, but what was funny is we were talking on the phone, and then I hung up hoping that you could get it fixed. And I looked around, everyone that was standing, like we're tight quarters. Everyone was reaching down and checking their chain ring. Everyone was checking their chain ring bolts.
Yeah, I still don't understand. I could only find 2 of the bolts, so we're barely able to like screw it back in. but the bolts were also semi-stripped, and so it was like, it wasn't a good thing. So very long story short, I rode the rest of the race in my big chainring.
Yeah.
And my legs are still sore today.
But you did the whole thing in your big chainring.
Correct.
58 miles, 60 miles.
Well, I did 9 miles with both chain rings, and then the rest with one chain ring.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, most of it.
One thing before we just skipped over.
And I never walked. Everyone keeps asking me that.
It's amazing.
I never had to get off my bike. I never had to walk.
Never walked because I saw a lot of people walking.
You would be surprised what you can do when you put your mind to it.
Yeah. I think
the only hard day was yesterday. That's what our friend Ed Byers always says.
Exactly. And I think anyone that knows you would not be surprised that you did not walk. Before I talk about the other races, we skipped over a lot of the weekend. Back on Friday, in addition to the shakeout ride, the Paranormal shakeout ride, you went for a run afterwards, uphill, which hurt really bad. And you said, I don't want to do that.
I turned around.
And then, and even after the shakeout ride, one thing you wanted to talk about that we haven't touched on was the instructions that you got.
Oh, the mansplaining.
Yeah. So if you want to,
I went through a lot this past weekend. So after we got done with the Paranormal shakeout ride or challenge course or whatever we want to call it,
Black Course
Recon. A gentleman from the UK walked up to me and was like, "May I give you some tips?"
And I want to paint the picture here. So we're all done. Everyone's kind of sitting around. We're eating,
like tired,
eating donuts and
hanging out, having a good time.
Hanging out, and you're sitting there. We're all in the same kit.
Yeah,
we're all
I'm
in
sitting
niche
next to
kits
Michael
and black kits. So you're sitting next to Michael, professional cyclist. Luke wasn't there.
No.
Caveman was also in the kit. I'm your husband, staying there with you in the kit.
Yeah.
And a random British guy walks up to give you instructions.
To give me instructions.
Yep.
He's like, "Oh, can I offer you some instructions?" And I'm like, when has a woman
You didn't even respond.
When has a woman, I want women listening, when have you ever had a random man come up to you and say, "May I give you instructions?" Unless you're lost in the desert. When have you ever been like, "Sure, pepper me with instructions, random guy"? So I didn't say anything because I was just like, "No, I don't want your instructions." But also I'm trying not to be rude. And he proceeds to just give me his instructions.
I think I have some pointers for. I was watching you from the Jeep.
I was watching you from the Jeep.
I was following you in the Jeep and have some pointers.
Blah, 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 blah. Now, it was really sketchy. I thought the descents were really sketchy, and so I was taking it easy because I'm like, I'm not going to crash on the Black Course Recon ride that I'm not even doing this course tomorrow.
Of course, yeah.
I'm not about to crash on this thing before I even get, with my luck, that'll happen. Also, the last time I rode my gravel bike, I got hit by a car descending. So I have had a lot going on in the old noggin while descending this super technical, rocky, sandy, terrible
very sandy
thing.
Yep.
And
very loose.
Yeah, so I was just taking it easy. Oh, you'd be better at descending if you held your knees out wider and didn't.
Well, he said that you were putting your knees on your bar, which I've never seen you do.
I've never put my knees on my top. How do you put your knees on your top tube while you're descending rocks? I truly don't know. And anyways, that was his advice. And I just looked at him.
Was to spread your knees out when you descend.
Spread your legs.
We were all standing there kind of in disbelief.
Michael I feel like he couldn't even make eye contact with the guy.
Yeah, Michael was.
He was just like, "Oh God." Everyone was waiting for me to say something smart ass, but I didn't. I was pretty proud of myself.
I quickly just said, "Where are you from?" Because I was very curious.
Yeah.
Why? And then I think I asked him too, "Why are you here?"
I still don't understand why I was there.
He works for Micah.
Thanks, Micah.
He works for Steamboat.
No, I mean, I just guys, please, unless you consistently ride with the woman that you're talking to, or a man for that matter. But I know men, you have your own little weird ways of communicating, so I won't comment on that. But if you're a man and you are trying to give pointers to a woman, unless she is your significant other or a close friend, just don't. Unless she's putting people in physical harm. If she's so chaotic in a group to where you're like, hey, like hold your line or something, that's totally fine. If you're like, hold your line, or, you know, make sure you don't look around so you don't crash. Like those instructions are fine. But coming up to someone in a social setting after a ride in front of a group of like tons of guys to then essentially like embarrass the person and be like, oh, I was watching you and these are all the things you were doing wrong.
It was weird.
It was just weird. Like, don't do that. Just don't do that. It's unnecessary.
I think as a rule, as a guy, you should not be giving any advice unless it's, like you said, a safety issue. But you should never be giving any unsolicited performance advice. Ever. Yeah. The icing on the cake for everyone to understand why this isn't an isolated incident is that Michael then saw same British Jeep driver, unsolicited advice giver, giving additional unsolicited advice to another girl, someone that we know from Miami, on top of the hill climb, and was giving her unsolicited advice about what shoes she should be wearing.
And he was like, you should be wearing mountain bike shoes, not road shoes.
She's wearing road shoes.
And she was, I think what Michael said is she was like, oh, well, these are just the shoes I'm comfortable in, so I don't mind riding.
And these are the shoes I have. So why are you telling me this?
These are the shoes I have. Like, I don't have other shoes. So you telling me while I've already flown from Miami to Denver to then drive here that I now need different shoes the day before the race. Like, how is that helpful?
Yeah.
You're not helping. You're just...
It's weird. So speaking of the hill climb, you want to talk about the hill climb?
Yeah, so the hill climb was super exciting. Michael dressed up as the Hulk or Green Goblin, whatever you want to call.
Kind of.
Basically just wore a green suit under his bibs. And so it was like a Le Mans start where everyone puts their bikes in the bike racks. And then
this is Friday night, by the way.
Friday night. Yeah. They run to get their bikes and then they start riding.
Yep.
And so we didn't really know what to expect because Michael's a big guy. Like, he's a lot bigger than most of these really small, skinny cyclists.
And so big for cyclists.
Yeah, and so we were like, oh, like, you know, just have fun. Like, don't, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But knowing Michael, like, that's not possible. Like, he has to win. And so Chad's at the bottom taking pictures of him at the start, and I like run all the way to the top or halfway up the hill climb, which I kind of thought was the top. I wasn't really sure.
So a hill climb is they literally just go up a hill, just
2 miles.
Straight up. It was 2 miles.
Yeah, I think it was 2 miles.
And at one point,
or maybe it was a mile.
I think it's probably like a mile. At one point, though, it's like 20% grade, like
in gravel.
In gravel, it's the whole thing's gravel. You could easily walk on all fours up this.
Yes.
And they are going to race their bikes up it.
Correct. And so I'm standing next to the Wahoo tent, which is about a half mile up. And I'm cheering. And then all of a sudden I see the green suit off the front and he's coming straight up the hill. And I was like, wait.
By himself?
By himself. I was like, wait, what's happening? What's happening? And so Michael, and like, I've never seen him look like this. Like, the amount of effort he was putting out to like just grind it up this hill was so insane. I wish everyone could have seen it. And anyways,
you felt sorry for the bike.
I did. I was like, this is a true test. Like, BMC, hold it together. And it did. So kudos BMC, because I don't know, like, that had to have been the ultimate stress test of that poor bike. So yeah, he ended up getting second because he blew up very close to the end, and the Australian national champion had paced himself a little better and went past him towards the end.
Well, he also said that it was like a thick crowd of people yelling at him, banging on drums, like pushing him, like, you know, everyone yelling. And then
you see he's in the Wahoo video.
And I saw that. Posted, and then so you can check Wahoo Instagram. They made a video about it. But then I guess he turned a corner and there was no more crowd and it just went silent.
and then you're with your thoughts and that's it.
And he lost all his energy. And then
silence with your thoughts and your pain.
Yeah. And then the Australian guy just passed him at the end. So.
Yeah. But it was so entertaining.
And the Australian guy was probably 30 pounds less than him.
Yeah, definitely.
To be honest, if not more.
Just like an M&M.
Yeah.
So it was a costume hill climb. For those that are like, why was he wearing that outfit? It was costume themed. So it was all in all, a really great day, a great trip. How was your race?
Micah Rice, the race director, was a guest a few weeks ago, and he talked about changing the course and why they changed the course. I think is important for everyone to remember, because I know there's a lot of people that are very unhappy and angry about the difference. The difference for me is, and I did the black course in 21, blue course in 22.
No, you did black,
22, 22 black, 23 blue. So I've done both of the long ones, and I would consider them very fast, especially the black course. That was like one of my fastest rides of the year, and I was with a group almost the entire time until the last climb. So they're very fast rolling. I mean, you're getting elevation, but you're not getting elevation that you would it would cause you to like blow up.
Except for the 20-mile climb.
Except for the 20-mile climb at the end. And it's all like super smooth and just like beautiful. And the same thing for the course that we did last year on the blue course, no big climbs.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they had to do was to take us away from the closer ranch roads to Steamboat and take us way further out toward Hayden and past Hayden. And the roads were just hard. I mean, the climbs, they basically compressed, a 20-mile climb into effectively a 7-mile climb for the blue course, which was broken in part by a really sketchy descent. So, it was our kind of thing that we were working on is to hopefully get Ansley a result, which we did. She got third in her age group. When we hit the gravel,
seventh overall
on the
blue course.
When we hit the gravel, she was pretty far off of the front group, and I was pretty sketched out from the crash last year. So over the course of the next, 15 miles, I slowly got her back to the front group. And then when I did that, I was like blown because it was the first climb. Kind of blew up, but then regrouped with the second group, and I could see Ansley in the front group for the next 40 miles. It was like so much torture, and I just wanted to stop. But the climbs were tough. And then what happens after Hayden, and this is what everyone's talking about, like after Hayden, there's a climb.
I'm sorry.
After Hayden, it starts a gradual climb, and then it gets steeper, and it's like a valley, and it was like really sandy. And my wheels just came off completely. And it's the same thing that like that moment for me was, why am I doing this? I went from like going really fast to now going slow enough that a grandma could probably walk faster in this. And so I was just like really, really mentally tortured and felt really terrible. I also felt really bad from the altitude, but I was thinking about Michael going through that climb because he's a lot bigger than me and trying to stick with those guys. And what's funny is when we talked to him about it, he said like he was having the exact same thoughts, like on the exact same climb.
Like, why do I do this?
Why am I doing this? Like, this is not what I should be doing. And then you had a very technical, dangerous descent. You did another 3.8 mile climb, which was actually worse, but I'd recovered. It's a lot steeper, but it was all just steeper and harder than Steamboat's ever been. And then the descent off of that was super sketchy, rutted, loose, giant rocks, kind of like North Georgia, like winding stairs. A lot of people had crashed. There were like a lot of people that were injured. There were people walking. And so it was a much different psychological, I think, experience than you normally would get at Steamboat. And there were a lot of people talking about that afterwards. So I don't know. I think it changes the complexity of the event, like, and what type of people it attracts. I know that they don't have a choice and they have to do it that way. I think it just changes how Steamboat is viewed.
Yeah, I agree. And it's definitely not like the Champagne gravel. Oh, I mean, the 60-mile course was. The course that I did was all Champagne gravel.
There was no steep climb or anything?
Not once. I mean, I didn't have to walk. There was no steep climbs. Not like what we did, the Black Recon course, that one climb where I was like, in my small chain ring, I was basically track standing. Yeah. There was nothing like that. And it was all Champagne gravel. There was never any technical sections until Cow Creek, but I don't consider that technical. No. So.
Yeah, I mean, you think, like, I saw guys walking uphill, and I saw guys walking downhill, and I've never, ever experienced that. Would never experience that at Steamboat. More probably like a BWR feel in terms of the psychological stress that I was under of like just trying not to crash. Yeah. Because that's what I was thinking
it like
about.
Was it Black Canyon or?
Very similar to Black Canyon. You know how loose Black Canyon was?
I crashed.
Remember you're descending and it's like so loose?
Yeah.
That's how it was.
I crashed 11 times.
Except maybe even steeper. Like that's
brutal. Yeah, because Black Canyon's not super steep. It's just really sandy.
Loose, yeah. Yeah, really
You just
sandy.
like all of a sudden hit a patch of dirt that you can't see is there and then you're just down.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I had a lot of people reaching out to me and a lot of people that were not happy about it, but it comes down to, do you want to have the event or not?
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to be different.
Well, I think the message is like, if you don't want to have that technical, like really technical day, you just do the 60-mile course. And
Michael warned us.
Yeah.
He told us, like he said, it's going to be way more challenging. It's going to be way harder. So, you didn't listen to the culture edit. You didn't get that. And this was a big surprise. So he definitely warned us. And that's actually why I went from the black to the blue, because he was so adamant about it. Which I'm glad I did. I mean, Alan had a great day. He did the black also kind of afterwards, contemplating life. Caveman, same thing. He did black, but then
I never thought something could make Caveman contemplate life.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
I was shocked.
Isn't that
like,
crazy?
This guy, I thought he didn't feel pain.
Yeah.
So I was pretty shocked when he said that.
Spicer, the same thing.
Yeah.
Spicer was like, I don't know if I want to come back.
This guy literally just rode across Canada.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know if I can do Steamboat again, but he rode across Canada. Like, that's how hard it was.
Like our post-ride debrief that night was like all of us kind of going, I don't know. Like, and I think what we settled on, which I really want to see if we can
this is never
execute.
Gonna happen. Never going to happen.
Is we all thought the same thing during the event. It's like, what if we were just doing this for fun? What if we were just riding this for fun, like as a group, committed to sticking together? Kind of what we've done, what we always do at Flanders. I mean, Flanders, we don't race off and mainly because they're not.
You can't, like,
yeah, and they're not trying to time it and give awards and stuff. So at Flanders,
and there's like 30,000 people instead of 3,000 people.
15,000 people, yeah. But
that's a lot.
Flanders, we always stick together, and it's a lot of fun. And so I think we were all thinking about that, like, what if Steamboat? And this is like our own fault, right? Like, we don't have to race it. Like, we don't. No. If I wasn't racing it for the first 45 minutes, I wouldn't have gone into this dark hole that I went into on that climb.
Yeah.
And so we're all like, maybe the next event we can just all kind of just let everyone go and ride it together and regroup at the top and regroup at the bottom. And but you have serious doubts whether or not that's possible.
It's never going to happen. That's why I have to go off with a completely different group every year. Because I do find my lovely Wahooligans who want to do that. Because I was with Steve. Well, the first year I did it, I found a nice group of masters riders who were regrouping at the top of every climb. And we all pretty much descended the same, so we didn't have to regroup. And then we kept it really steady, fast on the flats, rolling hills. And yeah, at the time, I mean, there's not that many climbs. And so when we regrouped, it was like, okay, so you regroup 4 or 5 times. It's not that, and you're max waiting for like a minute. Yeah. Like, you're really not, like, people are always like, oh, I gotta regroup. You're not waiting for like 10 minutes for someone to get up the climb. You're waiting for a minute, It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And
so why don't you think we can do it?
Because you all like have egos.
Oh.
You all think you're 23 years old still.
Definitely not.
I don't know.
I mean, Spicer's pretty young.
Yeah, he is young.
He should go on.
Go on, Spicer. I don't think you can. Well, I mean, Alan I get, because Alan trains a lot. Yeah. So like, I understand why he wouldn't want to like necessarily like take all that training and just kind of waste it. But for those of us who don't train as much as him, I think that just trying to enjoy it and having a good workout is the better way to go.
I agree. I think we can do it. I think we're going to try to do it. Maybe we'll try to do it at Big Sugar.
Because I'd be willing to do the longer course if I knew that I had a group to ride with. But what was really funny is, so I got done me, Luke, this attorney is like, we all got done first. And I quickly drove back to the house. Or actually, I rode back to the house. Quickly rode back to the house to get the car to come back down, because I knew you and Michael would be like completely destroyed and wouldn't want to ride back up the climb to the house. And so I get back down, I like make it just in time to see the first group of pros coming through, like the first 10. And then I'm like, okay, Michael's just around the corner, and he comes through the finish line. I'm waiting there, and he like hangs his head down, and I'm like,
well, no, you gotta tell, like, he sprinted.
Oh, he sprinted. Yeah. So he was with a group like Nico Roche, and I don't know the other guys' names.
Vacek.
Sure. And but really strong guys. And so he was with this group for a while.
World Tour riders.
World Tour riders.
Yeah.
And
He sprinted and beat them.
He sprinted
Smoked
and beat them. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Those crit legs are paying off.
Yeah.
And so he comes through the finish line, and I was super happy because he made top 20. And
how did you know he made top 20?
Because I was watching his position the whole time. It gave a live tracking of what place they were in.
Oh, okay. So you knew they were coming in, and like 20th place was on the line.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Because it would tell through like the checkpoint of what place they were in. So I knew in the last checkpoint he was at least 20th. So it could have gotten, it could have totally fallen apart, but I was hoping at that point. And then I checked when he came across the line what was the final position, and it was 20. So I was like, you got 20th. And he's like, what? I thought I got like 40th. So he was really happy. But I asked him, I was like, how are you feeling? And he was like, I really questioning my life right now.
Yeah.
So it was a hard day, even for
And I think everyone should know that, as like pros go through the same thing.
They're hurting. They're going through the same mental. Well, I don't know. Maybe not Keegan Swinson, but
yeah, maybe not.
I don't think I don't know what his. He's like crazy.
He's just listening to death metal, and that's all that's going through his
head. Yeah. He's running off some higher frequency.
But the other pros are suffering so bad.
Yeah.
They're contemplating life. They're
like, why do I do this?
I will say though, one difference is like we are scared descending, and I'm a pretty good descender, and especially on gravel, and I'm scared. I asked Michael, zero concern about.
Yeah.
Like zero concern.
How to descend on gravel in the North Georgia mountains is a relatively good descender. That's why that guy insulting me. I'm like, literally F off.
Yeah. But Michael didn't consider it sketchy at all.
No, he's like, Jesus, take the wheel. Like, I'm coming through. But think about it. Like, he is a bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
He's just going. Like, and if someone gets in his way, they're going to lose. He's going to win.
Yeah. Well, there's also not a concern about crashing.
Yeah, his bike handling skills are so much better than all like the average.
Or if he crashes, he just doesn't brake. Like he crashes a lot. So
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Not to be young.
Exactly.
But he did amazing.
We were all very proud.
Very proud. Everyone had a great day.
And then he took amazing pictures.
Oh yeah, that's the thing is like I was so proud of him because for those that you don't know, Michael not only does his race his bike, but he works for us at Niche Culture and then Speed Club, and he does a lot of the social media. He does the newsletter, he does the photos, and he's done an incredible job. But he, I was so impressed because we were still waiting on Chad and the rest of the guys to come through. So he got
not just Chad, a lot of people.
Yeah, no, it was everyone except for us to come back through. So we were like, okay, let's go and get in the car, go back to the house. Michael's gonna change real quick. We're gonna get the camera, and we went back to the house and we started like in his kit still. He starts taking pictures of the bike. Right after the race, we went to the Wahoo tent and immediately did a post-race interview. And so it was just like, I think our level of I really was proud of how much we just kept grinding through like the day.
Yeah, getting stuff done.
And capturing content because I see everyone else and they're just like more concerned about how much beer they can drink after. And I'm like, no, we're going to work, buddy.
No other pros that finished in the top 20 got off their bike and started working.
Yeah.
Zero.
And he captured amazing photos.
Yeah.
He got photos of everyone on the team. So shout out to Michael. If you see him or ride with him, just give him a little pat on the back and tell him great job because he was so great this weekend.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was it was rough. Like it was Michael said it wasn't unbound, but it was rough. It was rough for all of us that finished, and I think we all felt that because we couldn't even do anything afterwards.
Yeah.
I was and I looked at I don't know if I told you this. I looked at my heart rate so first of all, 6 hours. My goal was 5:30.
That's good. I think that's pretty good considering.
I was thinking between 5:30 and 6, and I considered 6 the cutoff. I was 6 flat in 46 seconds. But my heart rate average was 166 for 6 hours.
Wow, that's crazy.
At almost 50 years old. So I was dead.
Yeah.
We were all dead. We could not do anything. Sorry, Paw Normal. We didn't come to your party. But
we were zombies.
We were zombies. And
I couldn't even talk. You were like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I was having hard formulating sentences, and I didn't even do the 100.
Yeah, it was rough. So, but anyway, we'd still recommend it.
Still. Come on down to
It's
Steamboat Gravel.
Still the best event out there.
But it is like the expo, everything about it, the
yeah.
vibe is so fun. It gets better every single year. I don't know. It's so funny. I was thinking about this earlier. I don't know if the event gets better or if we just have become so much more integrated into that gravel scene.
Yeah.
But when I remember my first year showing up to Steamboat, and I'm not saying this isn't like Steamboat's fault by any means. I felt like an outsider when I was walking around to the booths. I don't know if you felt this way, but I kind of felt like an outsider. I didn't really know a whole lot of people other than you and like the other. Were we even with anyone that first year? Or was it just the two of us? I think Alan. Yeah. And yeah, it was just like, I didn't feel necessarily a part of it. I saw that all these other people like that felt so much part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year, a little more integrated, a little bit, knew some more people, recognized some more faces. But this year, I felt like everywhere I turned, I was like, I know everyone. I know so many people. It was...
Well, there were 100 people from Atlanta there.
Yeah, but even like knowing all the Panormal people. Like,
yeah.
we know people from Denmark. Like, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then just knowing all the other, like, throughout the year. I think the podcast has really, like...
That's true.
Introduced us to a lot more people. And then obviously having Speed Club with Michael, like that adds a whole nother element. But I felt so much more a part of like the gravel family, and I thought it was really fun.
Who had the best activation, you thought?
Wahoo, 100%.
By far.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying that because we're really good friends with them.
Yeah.
But they had the dunk tank, which I thought was so funny.
Yeah.
And then they had
a lot of activities.
Yeah, they just had a lot of activities going on.
Yeah.
And the tent felt very welcoming. It felt like you could just hang out in there.
The perk coffee.
Yeah, the perk coffee. Like, I loved how much they integrated so much Atlanta into it because Perk is from Atlanta.
Yeah.
And also just, I think Team Logger is so awesome. Like, I love all those guys and girls. And I think they're so positive. I think our group is really positive. The Wahoo team is super, super positive. So it was just really, really good group of people that came together.
Yeah, I agree. I think they had by far had the best activation, but we were also mostly engaged with them. The Panormal tent was pretty cool.
It was cool.
They well designed, as you would imagine. It did not feel or look like anything else. And they said they'd never done anything like that before. SRAM did a really good job.
SRAM did an amazing. I can't even imagine how much they paid for that.
Like, and the education around. Whoever the rep was that we talked to, she was not selling. She was just educating.
I thought Fall Raven did a great job.
Fall Raven did a really good job.
Because they had the spin where you won a bunch of stuff.
Activation. A lot of great brands that were doing a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's enough bike stuff. Hard to believe we have FSU football starting tomorrow. So by the time this comes out, we'll know the first football game of the year is over. I guess we got to fire up the Fubo or...
And we got to get an FSU football player on the pod.
Yeah, I know. I mean, well, shout out to my friend Warwick Dunn, who we've invited to be on the pod, and we will get him on here eventually. Now that it's football season, might be a good time to bring him on. Or maybe we can get someone else. I don't think we can get a current player, but I definitely think we can get some former players on.
Yeah.
They're busy right now.
So tonight...
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, so we're leaving here to do our Friday
little happy hour stroll down the Beltline.
Which normally we go to a place we haven't talked about before.
Yeah, Indico, which is a Italian pizza place right off the Beltline above Murder Kroger. It's really good. They have a happy hour.
People not from Atlanta have to think we say the weirdest stuff.
Yeah, Murder Kroger is called Murder Kroger because 2 people were actually murdered in Kroger. In the parking lot.
Well, I think it's more than 2, but it was a long time ago. Lots of people used to get murdered there, but they've remodeled it. It's not Murder Kroger anymore.
Yeah, the bodies are like in the parking garage now.
Okay.
Really good. And then we're gonna try a new place tonight, Electra, which is in the 4th Hotel, a new hotel right off the Beltline. It's Mediterranean, so should be pretty good.
We got a lot of. It's interesting, like this development with the 4th, and for those folks in Atlanta, the 4th. Is a hotel and private membership club, athletic club.
Which we have not joined.
We haven't even been to, but they have a restaurant there. They also have a restaurant opening in the bottom. Il Primo. So there's a lot, and it's right across from the new wine shop, 3 parks. So there's a lot of new stuff on that side of the Beltline now.
Pretty exciting.
And it feels, to me, it feels different.
Feels like Manhattan.
Yeah, it feels very metropolitan.
Or someone said Brooklyn.
Someone
said like more like
I would say more Brooklyn. It feels very like metropolitan and different and not tourist beltline. It was the way I would say it. And so you got Burleigh's Bar too that we've been going to.
Jazz night every Tuesday,
which Nikki loves. But they're not like, remember we were talking about like Burleigh's, like they're not trying too hard, which I think a lot of the places that open the Beltline.
They try too hard.
Like, what do you mean trying too hard? Like, how do you describe that? Like too
like
curated.
Trying to be too curated.
Yeah.
Like that's not cool anymore. I think at a certain point being overly curated was cool because everyone was about the like remember that point in time where like everything on your Instagram feed had to like be aesthetically like exactly matching, and people did like grids where they like made their grid match. Now I think that's kind of like chuggy, as the kids would say.
What?
Chuggy.
Chuggy?
Chuggy.
Chuggy. Can you spell that?
Chuggy. I think it's CHUEGEY.
Chuggy.
Chuggy.
What does that come from?
The kids. I don't know. It's just a kid term.
Chuggy.
Chuggy. So they'll be like, oh, like it's really chuggy to walk around Manhattan and stare at your phone for directions. Like that's chuggy. Or it's like basic. It means basic.
Okay.
Or like it's like cheesy and basic mixed together, or like something that you're just trying too hard. So it's chuggy.
Okay.
So like perfectly trying to match everything all the time is chuggy.
Okay.
Except I disagree with that when it comes to bike stuff. I cannot stand when people don't match their kits.
You mean wear different brands?
Yes.
At the same time?
Yes.
Yeah, I know that drives you crazy.
Drives me
like
insane. Even my running clothes, I have to match. Like if I'm Tracksmith top, I have to have a Tracksmith bottom. But over curated Instagram content is chuggy.
And that's not Burleigh's.
Burleigh's is like, it's very casual. It's fun. It's just showing like it's showing like the organically fun parts of why you should go there, but it's not like trying to make everything look perfectly posed. Okay,
so we will report back on these new places, hopefully, if we can get there. And we've got a few weekends of non-travel where we're in town, and we are planning a few more other things, events. Currently, that's what we're doing today, is planning a few fall events, so stay tuned for that as well.
So thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, do all the things. We appreciate everyone's support. We've had a lot of people come up to us that we didn't even know to listen to the podcast tell us that they really are enjoying it. So we appreciate that feedback. And
shout out to Robbie on the ride last night, telling me that he found the podcast organically and didn't even know about it, and was so excited because he listens to podcasts every single day on his way to and from work, and now he's got 57 episodes of listening to Chad and Nikki.
Oh man!
So he's going in reverse, which okay.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, shout out to Robbie and everyone else that's just finding us for the first time.
Yes, thank you to all of our friends of the pod, and we will be back next week for episode 58.